Hey, bitches! Well, I mean, some of you are guys or bastards, if you want to put it that way. This is a NOTCAST episode with a not so very special guest because you've seen him many times before. And for you, the day that he turns up on the NOTCAST might be the greatest day of your life, but for him, it is a Saturday. Episode 382. It is Saturday, the 5th of May?
It is a Saturday in
It's
May.
a Saturday in May in the
Fourth.
year of our Lord, God
Spock.
bless his soul, Lemmy, 2024. And we've got viewers' questions. Have you been picked? The answer is we're not fussy. So yes, you have, if you've asked a question. And if you haven't asked a question, we're not answering it. So there.
And in the words of our immortal Lord Spock, may the fourth be with you.
Oh, it is May the 4th, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. Use the force, Harry.
Live long and fester.
Something like that. So, questions. John Meehan.
John Meehan. Hello, John.
Hi, John.
John, you used to do the sound at Middlesbrough Arena, which is kind of vaguely how I know you, because I used to walk around wearing Rhino shirts, and if I'd thought about this properly, I would have done one and done that now. He asked the question, right? He said, well, he asked me a question, and then I responded with, so how did you two meet? And the answer is, yeah, I don't remember really when we first met, but I met him in the room, and he's annoying me even then.
I've known him all my life, even before he was born, which reminds me of the line from Absolutely Fabulous. Remember, I've known you longer than your daughter, which is, well, yeah. So I've known him all my life, and I don't really remember anything about most of the first few years. I don't remember how annoying you were as you got older, but you probably thought the same about me.
Yeah, I was a horrible teenager.
Actually, yeah, you know, when you were a teenager, and I think we've done this before, is when I looked at him as a teenager, I'm like, God, that looks exhausting. Has so much energy when frankly I could spend it listening to the Pet Shop Boys. So that's what I did instead.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, how did we meet? Well, we met in the womb, and that was okay actually. That felt like home for a while. And I think when children are born, I don't.
You're extrapolating.
Yeah, I'm extrapolating, of course. But when you're born, obviously, one of the reasons children cry so much is because they were like, all I've ever known is like this lovely little warm swimming pool of loveliness, and then I have to go and breathe. And if I find the anthropod that invented work, I am going to stomp that motherfucker down, because if it hadn't been for them getting out of the water, we could all just be fish, just swimming around, and we wouldn't have to worry about tax or politicians.
But if we were fish, we wouldn't love music. Do fish love music?
Apparently whales sing, so yes, they do.
I've heard. Yes.
So there you go. So the second question, this is from Ian Cargill. Hi Ian, I think you're in Australia. Hope it's okay. You're absolutely right. The bands that you love will never fucking tour there because they are gits, apart from the Jesus and Mary chain who just announced their shows.
And also you're from, I think you used to live in East Kilbride. So yeah. I've
So-
been to East Kilbride. The bands from East Kilbride are better than the town. Sorry.
Your question relates directly to
James Bond. James Bond.
Yeah, my favourite James Bond is Roger Moore. No, I am not joking. And your question is, what is more dangerous, a crocodile or a hippopotamus? Over to our resident crocodile expert.
Well, it's very simple. I've never seen James Bond fight a hippopotamus, but I have seen James Bond fight and defeat a crocodile.
He didn't.
Well, he defeated a crocodile. He jumped on the back of them, boingy, boingy, boing, and then he landed on the ground and has managed to escape.
Jumping over crocodiles, using them like stepping stones, like some kind of Super Mario Bond, is not the same as fighting them. It's running away.
He's brave Sir James Bond bravely ran away.
It's not
bravely ran away.
He's Captain Chicken Shit.
Oh no, that's not the film in which that's not the film in which someone dies in guano. That's Dr. No.
Yeah, but still, no. So crocodile versus hippopotamus. You say
no. I say, what would I be more likely to defeat in a
is
fight?
This armed or unarmed combat?
How would a hippopotamus be armed? How would a crocodile be armed? They haven't got opposable thumbs. They can't use weapons.
They've got teeth, man. You try taking a bite out of a crocodile.
Well, the answer is quite simple. You just get the pencil and you put it in the hole behind the ear, and then you just jab them. As I believe is what Teehee says in the film is the way to defeat them. Or is this alligators? I can't remember.
What's the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
One will see you in the wild, the other one will see you later.
Well, that's an answer. Right, better give up. So
So
actually,
versus hippopotamus, I think I would stand a better chance in a fight with a hippopotamus.
honestly,
And the reason
no.
for this is because
No.
they sometimes bathe in water and they can be a bit silly, and you can probably just sort of try and persuade them.
Distract,
with, you
throw
know,
a ball and get it to chase the ball.
you can try to just fuss them in front of the air like a dog and see if they lie down. You definitely can't do that with crocodiles because they're nasty bastards and they like to eat people.
Okay, so crocodile versus hippopotamus. I'm going with a
Sci-fi original.
hippopotamus, crocopus or hippodile. I'm going to say
Super mega hoppodile.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that hippopotamus is more dangerous because hippopotamuses are bigger. They've got more teeth. They can roll over you and kill you. And crocodiles only tend to engage when attacked. Hippopotamuses are more aggressive and will sometimes attack unprovoked. So I'm going to go with the hippopotamus.
I'm going to go running away. Bravely
Yep.
running away.
Yeah, absolutely. And then going, I'll turn you into a pair of shoes as you run off. Which hippopotamus shoes would be weird, wouldn't it?
Or as he said in Eraser, he's luggage.
So,
Don't
Anna
watch Eraser,
Gardner, I
it's
believe.
rubbish. Anna Gardner has
Next
a number
question.
of...
Who's the better looking?
I am.
No, I am.
I am.
Okay, whatever. Who's the better dancer?
I've seen me dance. I wouldn't recommend it on anyone. I know Anna's not seen me dance. And there's a good reason for that. Is because when I'm drunk, I dance like me dad. No, that's not true. It's because I use air guitar in an urban area and this is unwise.
So I'm thinking it's me as a better dancer, but I've never seen me dance either. So there you go. Who tells the best joke? What's your best joke?
My life?
Okay, fine. Here's my best joke.
Go on.
Ham and cheese sandwich walks into a bar and the barman says, "Sorry, mate, we don't serve food."
Person walks into a bar. No, person walks into a bakery and says, "Do you do crab cakes?" And goes, "Yes." And says, "Oh, thank God, it's his birthday next week."
Is that meant to be funny?
It was the Crab Museum's joke of the day.
Okay, fine.
So,
all right.
yes, I steal my material from the Crab Museum because the Crab Museum's awesome. And it is, isn't it?
It is. Actually, I have been to the Crab Museum. It is my favourite museum. It is in Margate. I strongly recommend you visit if you get a chance to do it. Also does a fantastic line in merch, as you've seen in a previous episode. So, what's your all-time favourite song?
I am going to... Host of Seraphim by Dead Can Dance. But it's now sadly overused in film soundtracks. But when I first heard it, which was on the Baraka soundtrack, when MTV Chill Out showed it one day, and I was just like, I have no idea what this song is, but I need to record it. And as soon as I found out what it was, I picked up their back catalog, and I've always loved it since. It's wonderful. Yours?
Okay, so my all-time favourite song? Well, it depends if you want happy or sad.
Yes.
Okay, fine. It's not Happy Sad by The Wonder Stuff. My all-time favourite song at the moment is It Doesn't Matter to Him by John Grant, which is a fantastic song about a breakup. And it has... do you have the album?
Which album?
Pale Green Ghosts.
Yes.
Would you be able to get it? Yeah.
I will
Then I'll
return
read out the
shortly.
lyrics for you in a second because I don't want to misquote it. It's one of the most amazing songs I've ever heard. And it's... I don't know, actually. I think you should. But I think the lyric is, if you think about it, I am successful, as it were. I get to sing for lovely people all over the lovely world. And there have been lots of ways I'm loved by all my friends and family, but there have been lots of concerned glances and raised eyebrows recently. And then it goes into a lyric about how, for example, I don't know how I lost my AAA pass to your life, and if we got the answer right now as to what went wrong, it wouldn't matter because we have become two strangers. It is one of the finest breakup songs of all time, and my favourite song, maybe, but then sometimes my favourite song is Res by Underworld, and it all depends on whether I want to jump up and down like I'm in the Pac-Man maze full of pills, or whether I want to sit morosely wearing black and think about the nature of the universe.
Do you want to know the answer? I do own it, but I don't own it with a sleeve because you gave it me because it came packaged with the vinyl that you had.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I don't. Yeah. So I do own it, but I don't have the sleeve, so we can't read out the sleeve notes.
Okay, so I think we've got Morag McIntyre.
Morag, hi.
Hey, Morag.
Hey, never met you.
No,
but we have been in the same building on at least one occasion. Carter's last gig in 2014. But I didn't know you then.
No,
but now I do.
Sorry, Morag. By the way, I give better hugs than him. Okay, carry on.
He's married. Don't. Which of you is funnier?
What do you think?
Me, obviously. But I don't think I exercise that funniness in any real sense.
I mean, if by arguing with turfs you mean that's funny, sure, but
That's laugh with me or at me. I can't
okay.
tell.
Yeah.
No, I think, be quite funny when I'm just left to monologue, but right now I'm not in a funny mood. Not even a funny ha-ha. You? Who do you think?
I mean, I think I'm pretty funny, but I gotta like myself because I spend the rest of my life with me. So if I'm a dickhead, that'd be awful, wouldn't it?
Having known you for a long time, yes, you can be a dickhead, but I know I can be as well. That
Okay,
said,
who's bigger on the dickheadometer? Well, I wasn't going to disagree with him because I know what he's like when he gets annoyed. You wouldn't like him when he's hungry.
I don't like me when I'm angry. I don't like
Okay.
me when I'm awake.
Okay. Who
But
got in more trouble as a kid and a teenager?
probably me. Why?
Yeah, probably you, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I got arrested for shoplifting when I was 16. It was unwise.
Yes.
Uh,
Mistakes were made, lessons were learned. You could even shoplift good stuff. What was it? Do you remember? Was it anthrax?
No, it was worse. I was wearing an Anthrax t-shirt
What was
at the
it?
time in Hawaiian shorts. I think it was a couple of Wasp albums on cassette.
Jesus,
But of course,
really?
get this, right? YouTube now means I don't have to shoplift music, and certainly wouldn't have as a teenager because I would have been able to access the music without paying for it with my very limited pocket money.
Honestly,
right?
you
So
shoplifted Wasp.
No, they got it back.
That shit ain't even worth shoplifting.
No, not even as a 16. But I'm not trying to justify it, right? But I'm saying now it would be a very different circumstance because I wanted to hear the music. The music wasn't available to me. Now the music is available for everyone pretty much all the time,
Yeah.
right? So that's a moot point. You know, the circumstances
Yeah.
under which that took place would no longer exist.
So at the age of 50, you now no longer connect to the song Animal Fuck Like a Beast.
No. I mean, Mean Man, yeah, but not Animal Fuck Like a Beast. Blind in Texas, hell yeah. Love Machine, maybe not. But that's a different matter.
Can you see the real me, Doctor? Okay, so yeah, I think that's actually right. Actually, I think you did get into more trouble as a teenager.
Yes, I was a very angry teenager, brought up in a very non-emotional, supportive environment, and I expressed that the only way I knew how, by the medium of shouting at people.
I hate you all. I didn't pick you. You can choose your friends, but not your family, etc.
Did you ever bust out the "I never asked to be born" line?
I didn't know, but I know you did.
Oh shit, I did. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have asked you anyway. What would you have said? So, yeah. Which one have you got your first kiss? I think I know the answer to this.
Go on. What do you
I think it was you.
How old were you when you had your first kiss?
I was 16.
Oh, then in which case I must say it was me. I was 9.
Yeah.
It was at Bournemouth Junior School. There was a very tall girl with short black hair called Rachel that you may or may not remember.
No.
Okay. And on the last day of school, she decided she was going to kiss as many of the boys as she could before she left, and
Oh, okay.
hid down. You know when you've got between the two playgrounds. You've got
This is the school that's in the grounds to the chocolate factory, by the way.
right. You know when you've got the two playgrounds, the ones at the top and the ones at the bottom.
Oh, and there's that alley that goes around the back.
Yeah, and then there was that little narrow bit there.
Wow, I had no idea.
She was in there, and her friends used to say, "Come down here," and then she kissed me when I was 9.
Was it any good?
A gentleman never tells. It's a good job I'm not a gentleman.
Also, a gentleman never kisses and never tells.
But it's a good job I'm not a gentleman. But in which case, I think it's time to. We've had enough of that, and it's time to draw a line under it and move on.
Mine was when I was 16 in the barrel organ with a goth whose name I never quite worked out because 1, I was drunk, and 2, it was really fucking loud, and I think they were playing Alien Sex Fiends at the time.
Did the song mention anything about Siberia?
It might have done actually, although to be honest, I wasn't really concentrating.
I can imagine your mind wouldn't have been elsewhere.
And in the morning, breakfast. So yeah, so there we got top favourite bands for you both. We don't have the time to do this. We'll
Not
do
all
it
of them.
another one, but not right now.
We might do that one on the next one actually, because that's going to be quite a long topic.
And top favourite movies for you both.
Now we've got top 5 movies, but we're only going to pick one because of brevity.
This is Graham's choice.
Mine is
Koyaanisqatsi.
Quick, someone tell Koyaanisqatsi bot on Twitter.
Koyaanisqatsi.
which is a very beautiful, very abstract film of how mankind is ruining the world. But in that case, it's probably the scariest PG or U-rated film in the world. But wonderful score.
Is it scarier than Bambi?
On a 1 to Watership downscale, it fucks you up for life, right?
Man, the general's going to get you. Okay.
But it only if you think about it. It doesn't have the immediate horror. It's the long-term ennui of, the pointlessness of human existence. You're going to regret asking that question now, aren't you?
Or as Andy Kane said, the world is fucked and so am I. Yeah, Koyaanisqatsi. So I saw Koyaanisqatsi for the first time about 2 o'clock in the morning on one of its very, very cheap cinema TV showings on Channel 4. possibly on a Saturday or a Sunday morning in a state of advanced chemical refreshment.
Does this mean you, unlike me, you didn't watch the copy I taped off Channel 4 because I thought it sounded interesting and had an unusual title? Because that's how I discovered it. I taped it off Channel 4 in
I
1984.
think I saw it at the time. It wasn't on 1984. It can't have been.
No, it's because it was shown on Channel 4 sometime in the mid 80s, and I taped it off the telly because I thought it looked interesting, and I watched it and I was like, mind blown. I was literally that gif.
It
So
couldn't
there
have
you
been on in 1984 because Koyaanisqatsi was released in 1983. There was a 3-year rule that you couldn't show a film on television within 3 years of it being released on the
go. Does that
cinema.
apply to documentaries?
Because of the, well, it was
I'm not
probably
sure.
about 1986,
Because I
1987.
remember
was
buying
on.
it when I was in my second or third year at school, so yes, it can't have been that late.
Well, anyway, I first saw it in the cinema before Graham did. I first saw it in October 1991 when I was studying film at the university, Demon Fart University in Leicester, or Leicester. It was shown at, I think it's the Phoenix Cinema, 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. So I watched it. I set my alarm especially to get up and watch it in widescreen in the cinema at 9 a.m. in a student-only showing at the cinema in Leicester.
Is this like the time you booked a day off work to watch Being There on the telly?
No, it was better than that.
Oh, okay.
Although I did have to get up before about 8:30, which frankly there is no time before 8:30 in the morning.
Yes, God invented mornings to punish the faithful. Your favourite film, Mark?
Is Dougal and the Blue Cat, the 1969 Magic Roundabout stop-motion animation musical, which the English version is dubbed, written and sung by Eric Thompson, who is the father of Emma Thompson.
Who is beautiful.
And this is a brilliant, wonderful, fun exploration of the nature of identity and changing your ethics and beliefs in order to get power and acceptance, which stars, of course, a very lovely little dog called Dougal. Here he is. And a misguided cat called Buxton. And it includes a fight in a secret room full of sugar on the goddamn moon. I think I first saw this when I was about 18 or 19. And it really spoke to me, man. I really enjoyed
You
it.
love sugar.
Well, yeah, that too. But I really liked the film, and it was a recommendation from my then girlfriend, who had a fantastic taste in movies, but did like Take That. But then again, I did like some crap bands in the 90s. So that is the my favourite film of all time. It is probably on YouTube for you to watch.
Morag, your next question is, do you love each other? I do love him, but I shouldn't really admit it. I love him because he's like a brother to me. But men don't normally show these emotions. But I do.
I have been known to have feelings in a built-up area about you, and not all of them have been negative.
Get out.
Yeah. Okay.
You're terrible.
So yeah, maybe I do, I guess, but I would never say that until they did the documentary. If we were in a band together, and going, yeah, I suppose I love him. Right at the end, you know.
Oh yeah, that'll be the closing scene, just as like, you know, we await the inevitable 25 years for the Reformation after. Let me guess. I got free advertising for my clothing brand in the tour program.
I'm gonna smash my Gibson 355.
There you do the Gibbs. You can smash up the Epiphone. It's a cheap knockoff.
Okay, next question from Morag.
Morag is what do you want to be when you grow up?
I know the answer to this. I want to be happy.
Shoe salesman? I could be a shoe salesman. But I should stop quoting Smart App. I don't know. I know what I don't want to be, and that's pretty par for the course.
Okay, so there are two things I want to be. One, I'm going to take a leaf out of Zodiac Mind Warp's book. I'd like to be an international love commando. And the second one is I'd like to be happy, because I think the whole point of being alive on this planet is, you know, don't be a dick, be happy, and try and make a positive influence to the people around you. Also, what do I want to be? I want to be a crazy cat lad. I have 3 black cats, which means that I am not a witch, but I am a wizard, and I am sticking with that.
You're not just a wizard, you're a baron.
Oh yeah, I am a baron. I'm a baron. I am a baron of the Principality of Sealand. I am nobility, and I'm happy to talk about that, but maybe not today.
Are you going to say what happened on Thursday?
No.
Okay.
We don't talk about what happened on Thursday.
We don't talk about
it's not
Thursdays.
very exciting.
I am going to point out the next question comes from a Mr. Graham Reed on YouTube.
No, you can't.
And the answer is, can you give us a 30-second sample of your bass playing? And the answer is,
no.
That is a story for another time.
Oh, I hate it when they say that in things. It's a story for another time. Why is it a story? Because we haven't worked out the explanation as to why this shit's happening. Because if anyone with a brain had put this into a narrative, somebody would go, bullshit, like the bit in Terminator Salvation, which I hate, which is where, when you've got the second biggest enemy that Skynet has got, is instead of icing him on the spot like a cupcake out of crabs, or marshmallows under a flamethrower, they go, no, we're going to keep the guy alive to drag in the other guy. No, Skynet would kill that motherfucker like that without a moment's hesitation. So when you say that's a story for another time, what it really means is I, the writer, can't be fucking bothered to explain what's going on.
I'm not sure, but I'm beginning to think maybe the video and audio is out of sync on this, but I could be wrong.
No, it isn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Can you pass me the book?
Oh, the book. Yes.
Have you ever read? Oh, Steve Richards. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
I don't know you. I think you watch my brother's things on the Tube of You.
Brilliant. Thank you. Good work, Steve. Nice to hear a question.
And he asks, have you ever read Lost in Music by Giles Smith? You mean Lost in Music by Giles Smith? This is an uncorrected proof copy. I probably picked up in the charity shop for like 50p. I can't remember. It's got no barcode on it, and it says uncorrected proof copy on the front, if you want to have a look. And his question was, every time I feel ill, I associate this with music. Have any of you suffered from this? I'm sorry if I've mangled the question in the paraphrasing, but I'm just going from what I've got written down here.
There is some music that makes me want to puke.
That's not the same question.
Yeah.
I mean, is it generally just a case that does music have a associate? Is there music that you associate with being ill? And I must say, I do have some music that makes me associate with being ill, but it's not because of the music. It's because of the music I missed. I was supposed to see Faith No More at London Hammersmith Odeon in 2012.
Oh yeah, you were, weren't
and
you?
I couldn't make it because I was suffering from food poisoning, which had been given to me by reheated rice, which I spent 4 days in a state of advanced dehydration. And I just basically had to say, I'd love to go, but I can't.
Yeah.
And someone else had to step in. So to me, sometimes when I think of Faith No More, I have the association with being ill in that particular time.
But you did get to see them a couple of years later.
Yes, I did. I got to see them a couple of years later at London's Hyde Park, where there was zombie eaters. Okay. What about you?
Well, I'd like to thank Kylie for Kylie Hornby, who's now married, and therefore that's not your surname, who came along to see Faith No More at the Hammersmith Apollo or Odeon. Odeon, it's always going to be the Odeon. So for me, it's not actually any song or bit of music that reminds me of being ill. It is in fact Breaking Bad, because I had double pneumonia in 2014. And double pneumonia is where you have pneumonia in both of your lungs. And I was off work for 3 weeks. I was out of the office for 6 weeks.
3 weeks.
I lost approximately 3 stone. I was really very, very poorly. And they told me I had a 30% chance of survival at that point. And I was basically had a bag packed because I might have to go to a hospital and be stuck under on a pretty immediate basis. It could have happened any time. And so for the time when I was poorly, I was largely lying on the sofa like this, going, I'm going to watch Walter White and Breaking Bad. And even just walking to the DVD player, because this was before streaming, even walking to the DVD player and changing the DVD was a Herculean task, which took ages to do. So Breaking Bad reminds me of being really significantly poorly. And that is, aside from the time I was in a riot in Swansea, the closest I have ever come to death.
That's a good answer, but it's not strictly music, but that's a good answer. We have a question from, I believe is it Simon Patience?
Simon Patience. So Pluto, Simon in Australia.
Hello, Simon.
Pluto's orbit intersects with Neptune. Does this mean they are in danger of colliding? Okay, so I have an answer. Graham has an answer. The bottom line is no. There is no danger of colliding. It looks like they are on the same orbit, but because of the distance, because space and time is multi-dimensional, although it looks like they're colliding, they're not, because there is a difference of millions of miles between the two. And also, Neptune's orbit is, and let me just guess, 165 years, and Pluto's is 248, which means that there is extremely very rare indeed that Pluto and Neptune would actually be anywhere near the same space and time.
I love you, but you're stealing my notes.
The
Carry
second part of it is that the gravitational force of Pluto and Neptune would push each other away in the same way as like two magnets with opposing polarities, which means that should they ever intersect, they wouldn't ever actually crash because the atmospheric balance and weight of them inside space would push the two apart.
My answer is kind of like that, but different. Okay,
No,
is
the answer.
Is space two-dimensional? If it is, then the two orbits will intersect. However, the orbits don't intersect because if Neptune does this, Pluto does this, which means you have to have, and basically no. I worked out it's roughly once in every 56,000 years, give or take, that they would come to proximity with each other, but because of the gravitational fields and they would essentially manipulate each other's orbits to stay apart rather than collide together. This also means that Roland Emmerich's Moonfall is a big bag of shit because it basically works on the same principle.
What other films has Roland Emmerich made?
2012, The Day After Tomorrow, Independence Day 2, The Patriot, Godzilla, 10,000 BC. Basically, it's just a bunch of...
Basically, the guy's not a scientist, is he?
No, and the guy basically hates New York because he's blown it up in about 6 different films.
Okay. So, really, I think this is the thing. It's like, if you've got the Matrix box set, which has the commentaries by the philosophers in, where they rip the piss out of the films, if they put a scientist doing a commentary to any Roland Emmerich film, it would be even dafter than Ben Affleck's commentary for...
Is it Pearl Harbor? No,
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
The one where he goes, hey, how difficult would it be to get a bunch of rock guys to fly into space? Which, by the way, is... I just want to hear Ben Affleck do the commentary for anything, really. But I suspect he won't. He'll just too busy being a meme.
He's a naturally funny man. His sense of comic timing is really good.
Okay, so next question is from Sean Whelan in Wales, who is tonight or tomorrow seeing a person we're going to be talking about later on, the mighty Bruce. Who, by the way, I've never seen Bruce live. I don't think you have you?
I've heard Bruce live. I've not seen him.
Okay.
I've heard Bruce live as in because he played Birmingham Aston Villa Park in 1988 on the day that I was in school there. So during my afternoon break, I wandered over to listen to him sound check. Does that count?
Yeah, it probably does. But
tickets for £22.50. My pocket money was £5, so I didn't go.
And how much are tickets for Bruce now at Aston Villa Park?
At least 10 times that, if not 20 times that.
So the question from Sean is, Graham, what are your favourite non-Aussie Sabbath albums?
Okay, I'm more of an expert on post-Sabbath Aussie than post-Aussie Sabbath. I will say, however, I do have an affinity for the occasional song from Ronnie James Dio. Ronnie James Dio, the world's shortest man that I ever met.
The man that invented the devil horns.
That's
the thumbnail I'm going to stick on the picture.
Figured. I really love Turn on the Night from Mob Rules because it's fantastic and it's got a great riff, and there's nothing I love more than just sticking that on and singing very, very loudly. Rhyme and reason, I'm under the season, under your spell.
Carry on.
No, I can only do the one line and then my throat hurts.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. I haven't got Mob Rules. I've got Heaven and Hell. I've got Live Evil, and I've got the Heaven and Hell album, and I've got the Heaven and Hell Wacken.
I haven't got Wacken. I've got Heaven and Hell live at Radio City in New York.
But I'm
actually... Was this the last show that was filmed?
I think it was. Yes, I think it was. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Dio era Sabbath, though I do think Heaven and Hell is a great album. I am more of an affinity to the Tony Martin years. The Tony Martin years is when I was introduced to Sabbath. The first Sabbath song I really heard was Headless Cross, which means that there's no escaping the power of Satan. And
Headless Cross is a fucking great track, isn't it?
It's a fucking great track. Featuring Cozy Powell on drums, Lawrence Cottle on bass, who then did not tour with the band and was replaced with Neil Murray. I used to have a couple of signed Sabbath vinyls from that era, but I sold them because I needed the money. I really love Headless Cross as a track. I really love the B-side Cloak and Dagger. It's going to have to be Headless Cross. And I must say that in 1992, I met a post-Aussie era Sabbath, and they were rehearsing at Rich Bitch in Birmingham, in Selly Oak, in true Spinal Tap fashion. Don't look for it there. It's not there anymore. It's gone now. It's now been replaced with Student Flats. I met Cozy Powell at the post office next to Selly Oak because he'd gone to post something, and I was stood behind him in the post. And then I went into Rich Bitch because it was next door to the post office, and because I was between bands at the time and I wanted to read the lightning notice board, and I went to the toilet, and stood next to me was Ronnie James Dio, the world's smallest man. So it seemed.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So,
Voice like a god, body
like a Smurf.
Body like a very small pass.
Okay. So I've stood next to Noel Gallagher in the toilets at a Seahorses gig in 1997 in the Wolverhampton Wolfram Hall. I felt it was rude to say anything, really. I did have a look down, but not telling. So, Anthony Newsom would like to know, if you got stuck in a lift...
Have you got any preference on Sabbath?
Oh, yeah, I love Headless Cross.
Yep.
I think the Ronnie James Dio era is particularly good. Although, I must say, my favourite album isn't technically by Black Sabbath due to contractual reasons. Thanks, Sharon Osbourne. It is Heaven and Hell, which is basically it's Black Sabbath under a different name for contractual purposes. I really like this one.
It's the Heaven and Hell era sample lineup, isn't it?
The Devil You Know. I really like this album. It's difficult for me to pick out a favourite. To me, like all Sabbath albums, it feels like there's not one particularly great song. There's just a solid batch of fabulous riffage. And of course, because Tony Iommi hadn't made an album between 1995 and 2008, when this came out, motherfucker was bursting with riffs. So I really like this
He
one.
did make a solo album in 2000 called Iommi. We featured Henry Rollins on vocals on one track and Ozzy.
Yeah,
but I haven't heard
still
it.
8 years of riffs.
I haven't heard it
from Tony Iommi. I mean, that's going to have to be good, right?
Yeah.
Certainly better than 22 years of riffs from Ralph Hutter, who hasn't released anything in a while. So, Anthony Newsom, hey fella, if you got stuck in a lift with your favourite artist, would you A, talk, or B, faint? Who's your favourite artist?
It doesn't matter because I've been stuck in a lift before and I did not faint. So
I didn't like it.
I think I can answer B, not faint. But I think A, I would talk. And the main reason is because they're a human being. We're having a shared experience. It's all going to be a bit awkward and nervous. So let's just try and diffuse it with humour and just talk like fellow humans. Whether he's a fellow artist or not, or favourite artist is not an issue.
Well, yeah, so I haven't been trapped in a lift with my favourite artist, but my favourite guitarist in the world, I have friends of friends with. So I went out one day with my friends and he was there and I got chatting to him, and what I realised is when I mentioned that I really liked his band was Suede, is that I saw a distinct frostiness come over his face because he was like, oh, you're one of them. Now, I've seen Suede a lot. I've seen them 70 times, plus with Brett Anderson solo in the Tears, that probably takes it up to about 80, 85. But I decided not to really go into that because it was kind of weird going, dude, I've flown to different countries to see you play guitar and we're in a pub and let's not make it weird. Lovely man. Really, really like his work. So, yeah. And so therefore, I'm going to follow the political theory of 2 beers and a puppy, which you may or may not have heard about, which is, if you're going to vote for a politician, would you either go for 2 beers with him or would you trust him with a puppy? And if the answer is no to either of those, don't vote for them. It's the same thing as I feel about some of my favourite artists. Some people whose music I really, really like, I know are not very nice human beings. And therefore, I don't listen to their music as much.
Yeah, what's Roger Waters ever done to you?
Man, have you heard Dark Side of the Moon Redux?
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Yeah. So therefore, from my perspective, being a good human being is really, really important. And if I was in a lift with my favourite artist, I'd probably chat with them because they're a person. And well, otherwise, it'd just be weird. I'd be like, dude, I know who you are. I've got all your albums. I'm going to ignore you. And we're going to be stuck in a room for 20 minutes.
That's really unnerving from someone I've known for 40 years.
Is that awkward?
Yeah.
Is that fucking awkward? And then, of course, you could do the, the sexy bass thing. Just go, I love you, and die. So there you go.
I wasn't in a lift unless I've.
No,
Oh,
it
who
wasn't.
knows?
What are some
So
bands?
hang on, what's that? If you're stuck in a lift with your favourite artist, would you talk? Yeah, they're just
Talk,
tunes.
talk.
I mean, there is one thing, right? One of my favourite sort of artists and comedians I like is Bethany Black. I have met her.
She unblocked you on Twitter.
She unblocked me on Twitter. Thanks. But the thing was, it's just we were there for the DVD record. I don't know if the DVD's come out yet. I was there with a couple of her friends. She came over and shared a table with us, ordered food, and just spoke like human beings. And she's absolutely lovely. And that was a really great experience because I just don't think to myself, oh, hang on, I'm being starstruck, or this is someone that, I really like. I just thought, there's this human being sat across the table at me and we're just having a nice chat. And that's the really important thing.
Yeah.
Just have nice chats with people. Don't make it feel a bit awkward and weird.
Don't go being a twat now.
I really like you. I like your music. I've liked your music for 40 years.
That's weird, man.
See?
It was meant to be weird, though.
That's how it felt when
was.
he... Look, I'm like, I've known you for 50 years. And next thing I know, he's whispering in my ear, pretending he's Liam Neeson from Taken. I have a very peculiar set of skills.
I have a very peculiar record collection and I know all the remixes and the B-sides.
Oh, God, haven't I fucking noticed? I certainly have.
So, let's... Moving on. Jessica Ronson, I believe.
Jessica Ronson, and I can't remember the numbers I put back.
6580. What are some bands that you love that your brother hates and vice versa?
Some bands that Mark likes, I haven't ever had an affinity for. Some bands Mark likes, I've never really had the moment where they've clicked for me. I, for many years, didn't have a Bowie receptor. I've now discovered my Bowie receptor is a very specific era of Bowie, and that's okay, or Bowie, or was.
Is it An Afternoon in 1995?
Are we talking about Earthling? Because I really love Earthling.
Ah, that's 1997.
And some bands Mark really loves that I'm not a huge fan of, or they haven't clicked with me. Frightened Rabbit are not a band where I've had that moment of enlightenment.
Or that dickhead in the kitchen.
Thanks. And I've never had that moment where was watching Twilight Sad. I've had that moment of enlightenment. I've not had that either. I know Mark loves both of them, but for me, I'm just sort of like, it leaves me a bit indifferent. So, do I hate any of the bands Mark likes? Probably.
Get out. So,
I'm not that bothered.
Are there bands that
I've got nothing left to prove? That's what I'm saying.
Are there bands that Graham loves that I hate? This band, The Almighty, the all fucking shitey, more like. Every goddamn morning, 7 o'clock, 7:30. Doesn't matter if I've been to Snobs and came home at 3 o'clock in the morning. What's the first track on this fucking album? Crank.
It's called Ultraviolet. Please
Ultraviolet. Okay, after four and a half hours, right, asleep, right. I only got lions 2 days a goddamn week, and I am not a mornings person. We gave morning people too much power. Okay, it's virtuous to go to bed early and get up early. It's not virtuous to stay up late and do shit. No, it's virtuous. All right. What's virtuous when I was 22 was getting trashed, going to nightclubs, and getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning. And what wasn't virtuous was waking me up at 7 o'clock in the morning with this fucking shit. I hate this band. I hate this CD. And I hate this CD because it reminds me of sleep deprivation, which has been ruled out under the Warsaw Convention as a cruel and inhumane punishment. And I wasn't even in a goddamn war apart from the Britpop wars. Fuck the Almighty in the ear. And Ricky, I know you're a lovely man and you like the Almighty. I need about 7 litres of caffeine in me before I can listen to the Almighty. They are too fucking awake.
I've met Ricky.
Yeah.
Did I think he was a lovely man? No, I just thought he thought I was a weird fan, which is probably right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't like his band.
Fair enough.
All fucking shitey. Also, anyone that
I must
puts
apologise for what I did in 1995. I don't care what it was. I must apologise for all of it.
Can you expand that out, like by more years? Because there were other years.
Yeah, but only one of them under which I was playing you the Almighty.
Look, it was a long fucking year.
It was.
You know, all years are the same length, but some years feel longer than others.
Yes, this comes down to the proportionality of time and how it feels. We've been through this theory, right?
Yeah.
About when you're 18, your next Saturday night
is like a much smaller percentage of your life.
It's actually
than when you were 6.
It's but it's a much huger percentage of your adult life than when you're 50, right? When you're 50, I've had 3,000 Saturdays, something like that. Whereas when you're 18, your next Saturday. It's like 1% of your entire life because you've been going out since you're 16. So every Saturday matters, and that's where the proportionality of time comes in. Which is why some years are proportionally longer than others, and time tends to slow down because it's a very different percentage and integer of your experience.
Good use of the word integer there.
I don't know what it meant. I may have misappropriated it. Me.
Okay, so Steve, just Steve,
Just Steve.
bands and LPs that are held up as shining examples of a classic nature, but don't actually like them or just don't get. Okay,
What bands have we got mentioned here? We have got
yeah. As seen
Bruce.
about 20 minutes ago.
Springsteen.
Bruce. Actually, Tunnel of Love is his best album.
Actually, and Tunnel of Love. This is by far his best album, in my humble opinion.
And it has his best song on.
Brilliant Disguise?
No, hang on, let me just double check.
Or Tougher Than the Rest?
Tougher Than the Rest is my favourite Bruce Springsteen song. And were I a George Michael type artist that did cover versions and doing a residency, I would open every Saturday night show with Tougher Than the Rest. Because the opening lines to Tougher Than the Rest?
It's Saturday night.
Exactly.
You're all dressed up in blue. I should stop singing, shouldn't I?
Honey, I've been watching you a while and you've been watching me too. So, there you go. So, Bruce Springsteen, I think, is overrated. He's very good. He writes some very good songs, but he is not the cure for cancer. And he's definitely not the best thing since
He's
sliced
got the
bread.
Prince effect. He writes thousands of songs. Only hundreds of them make it out. His archive is huge, and some of his best material is absolutely left on the shelf. I think he can be very unfocused sometimes. I think Kernel of Love is by far his best album. After that, before that, it's Born in the USA, and then there's occasional flashes of brilliance. For example, songs like the piano version of Stolen Car or Randolph Street Electricity, Man of Electricity, which is beautiful and wonderful and officially unreleased. It's only ever been recorded once. It's never been played live.
And your best B-side is Janie, Don't You Lose Heart.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that point. I'm definitely going to have to agree with you on that.
Okay,
point.
other bands that are vastly overrated. Fucking Genesis.
No good anecdote starts with my ex-wife. Well, it's not my ex-wife, it's his. But there you are.
I fucking hate Genesis. They're awful. In fact, even worse than that, Phil fucking Collins. I'm sure he was good once, but frankly, once you get to the time where you're actually sucking Disney's cock and taking money from them to soundtrack sad songs on animated movies about weird lions and pandas and shit, you're just an idiot. So, no.
Phil Collins, right? Clearly talented, but not to my taste. Easy Lover, absolute banger. Not just because it was sampled by Chris Morris. Also, In the Air Tonight, fucking classic. Rest of his career? No.
Think twice.
No. Think twice.
Just another day for you and me on the NOTCAST. Okay.
What else have we've got?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, so you've got that.
Well, who else is missing? Dire Straits. Now, I happen to like a very small selection of Dire Straits' work. Very small selection. I think Alchemy is a fantastic live album. Probably one of the best live albums of all time. I would say I prefer the original vinyl version than I do to the CD reissue, which has recently been reissued and expanded. I will also say that I think Brothers in Arms is it's a good album for its time. It's too long. The CD versions are far too ultra extended. I far prefer the vinyl running order. But once again, probably the best work I think they ever did was the live Wembley Arena TV broadcast, which they're putting up on their YouTube, one song at a time. I like what I hear sometimes, but they're very selective. They are not that great. Also, On the Night era and On Every Street era is fucking dreadful. It's a show band.
I think weren't Dire Straits the last band that Mum and Dad saw?
Yeah, 92.
Yeah,
1992.
And then my mum died, and the last live act that she saw was Dire Straits. Shame, really.
What other bands we got mentioned? Oh, Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
What the fuck is wrong with this band? Look at it. It's like a Sixth Formers bloody art project. I've got an armadillo tank. What? Or look, I can draw things that look vaguely sexual. Firstly, your covers are shit. Secondly, your songs are shit. Thirdly, right, you've got songs with names like Eruption, Stones of the Years, Iconoclast, Mass, Manticore. What the fuck's a Manticore? The Battlefield and Archotarchus. These are stupid lyrics, right? Brain Salad Surgery is a stupid name for an album. It's even stupider than calling the album after the name of your band. And the last 4 songs on this 8-song album are called Carn Evil 9, First Impression, Part 1, Part 2, Second Impression, Third Impression. Dude, those are shit lyrics. I can tell just by the title. This band are dreadful. It's music made by idiots for morons that have nothing to say to anybody about anything at all, ever. Just awful. And
I'm going to interject with one damning piece of evidence. Jim Davidson's favourite band is Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
really,
Jim Davidson, professional racist.
yeah.
Sue me in a court of law if I'm wrong. You know you'll lose.
But Steve
Because I think
Davis,
so.
professional snooker player, his
Yep.
favourite band,
Yep.
Magma.
Steve Davis is the dude.
And there's a
He the
fascinating,
man.
fascinating podcast with Steve Davis.
Oh,
the
you must send me
Electronically
the link.
Laws with yours with Martin Ware. Also, other bands that are regarded as classics, but vastly overrated. The
Yes.
graphically interesting, yes, but
Yes.
musically atrocious and repugnant band.
I am going to say something about Yes, which many Yes fans will call absolutely disgraceful.
Trevor Horn was the best bass player they ever had.
No. Chris Squire was the best bass player they ever had. He's very underrated. But I will say this. Classic era Yes with Steve Howe. Shit. Trevor Rabin era Yes. 90125. Fucking brilliant. Possibly the best pop rock album of 1984. Incredible production. Spot on songwriting. Absolutely full of hooks. 90125 is a great album. And everything else they've done around it isn't. It's Diamonds and dog shit. This is Diamonds. Most of their albums are dog shit. I've heard enough Yes to know that basically I don't understand why they're liked, especially not now. The current incarnation of Yes are an absolute
Abomination.
travesty, because essentially the only two members of Yes that have ever previously been in Yes, though currently in Yes, are Jeff Howe. No, is it Jeff Downs and Steve Howe. My friends, that is Erasure. No, that is Asia. Actually, not Erasure. That's Asia. Yeah, that's not Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Talking of Asia, who's
Yes.
the vocalist in Asia at the moment?
I have no idea.
It's Bumblefoot,
Is it?
formerly of Guns N' Roses.
Asia, yeah. Yes, now are an Asia tribute band who's just doing different songs. I can't stand the way they've treated it ever since members started dying. I think Chris Squire is an incredible bass player, but perhaps more importantly, I just don't like them. Meandering, noodling, pointless songs about whales that don't fuck to stay alive. Fuck them. Fleetwood Mac.
And Graham's. Oh, Macwood Fleet.
Macwood Fleet. Rumours. Right, it says, how
Vastly overrated.
do you feel about bands held up as shining examples? Fleetwood Mac. Rumours is a great album. They've done a few good singles. But it's not the be-all and end-all of music. It's just another good album from that year of 1976, 77, 78.
Okay.
77? 77. There's a lot of good albums coming out in
You could
77.
have seen Star Wars. You could have been listening to Nevermind the Bollocks, and you chose Rumours.
Oh, Daddy, etc.
If you're going to be a superhero, you might as well call yourself Captain fucking Beige. Right. Chelsea would like to know.
We mentioned Dylan.
Yeah, no, we haven't mentioned Dylan, and I think we're going to run out of time if we carry on. Dylan's vastly overrated as well.
Dylan can't sing.
So Chelsea would like to know, what is our favourite B-side by U2? Graham, you have a choice.
It's a tough
have
choice.
two choices.
It's a tough choice. Right. One of the first U2 songs I ever heard was Desire, but I really love the B-side, which is Hallelujah Here She Comes, because
That's good, isn't it?
that sounded like something I'd never heard before, and I really do think it should be on Rattle and Hum
Yeah.
as a separate CD. However, it was later surpassed by the contents of the One CD. Now, the One CD includes two of my favourite U2 tracks of all time, possibly three if you include them. I really love Satellite of Love, but it's
faithful.
It's very faithful. I really love Night and Day. The Silk and Steel mix of Night and Day is incredible. Probably
$12 of that.
one of my favourite tracks of all time. But it is eclipsed as unfortunately it's neck and neck with the other B-side on here, which is Lady with the Spinning Head. Lady with the Spinning Head should have been on the album, but obviously it shouldn't have been because they might have made three separate songs out of it.
Those three separate songs are Ultraviolet, Zoo
Station,
Station, and
Fly.
yeah, exactly. Yes.
Same chord progression.
Yeah.
Admittedly in different ways. I'm going to say I prefer the extended version of Lady with the Spinning Head, but no, Night and Day Silk and Steel string remix is my favourite U2 B-side. What's yours?
Well, my favourite, actually, I've got two, and it depends upon the period. So, Lady with the Spinning Head was my favourite B-side because it's fantastic, and it should have been an A-side. You guys should have played it in Vegas, or more correctly, you should have played Vegas in Britain, so I didn't have to pay £2,000 to get there. The other one is North and South of the River. which is taken from the B-side, or not the B-side, but the extra track on the CD single of Staring at the Sun. North and South of the River is an incredible song, which really should have replaced Playboy Mansion and Miami, If You Wear That Velvet Dress on pop. It is a beautiful, tender song about the troubles in Ireland, and I just think it's wonderful, and it should see perfectly into Please. So North and South of the River is my favourite U2 B-side from their much maligned, and unfairly so, pop era.
I've never even thought of it as a like companion piece to Please, but obviously it's really quite obvious when you think about it like that. Or thought about it as swapping it into the album running order. So maybe I should give that a shot.
Yeah. Put North and South of the River into Please, and it fades out, and then Please comes in, and it's talking about the conflict from two different sides.
I'll try that. What's next on to question?
What is a band you couldn't stand at first but grew to like?
I'm going to make my choice here. Yes, were one of the bands. I still only like one album. Foreigner. I'm gonna admit this. It's Foreigner. I can't say why. It's just they're a band where I just I want to know what love is. And then I bought a copy of Records cheap because I just thought to myself, might be all right.
I want to know what Foreigner is.
I want them
to show me.
I had enough of them playing head games with me, so I gave it a listen. It felt like the first time, and I really think Records is a great solid 10 out of 10, hit for hit, one of the greatest hits albums of all time. I don't particularly like a lot of their albums, but their single tracks on this is absolute killing material. So yeah, that's my choice for the day, Foreigner.
Weren't you going to mention this one as well?
Also, OMD were a band where I was mostly indifferent about, and then I started to listen to them because they're not a very obvious band. They're not very straightforward. Their songs aren't very riffy, but they are very sort of melodic and kind of getting into a groove. And they are ultimately, I really like OMD now, but I didn't like them for ages. I just didn't connect with them. The other thing I really like about OMD is the live bass. It's not in like a Peter Hook sense, but it's like an 80s electronic band with live bass on it, and it gives it a very unique sound. Absolutely love OMD now, but there you are.
Great, okay.
Bands you didn't like, but now do.
The best of the Beatles. I thought the Beatles were a pile of overrated crap. And they were, and they are, because every time you open a copy of Mojo, Q, Vox, or whatever it is, it's one of those four fucking guys that stopped making music over 50 years ago, and some new revelation about a bunch of four Liverpool guys that discovered drugs and money and snorted most of it up their nose. Enormously overrated. Now, if I listen to the Beatles as a band, I quite like them. But if I think about the worst thing about the Beatles are their fans.
Excuse me, shall I put a hat on and pretend to be Parlogram guy now?
Oh God, don't. If you're going to, if I listen to the Beatles just as a band, they're fine. If I think about their fan base, the rabid people that go on about the differences between the mono and stereo mixes, and how you really need to get a first press stamper of the gold and black version of the first album that happens to only cost £4,000 from an auction website, frankly, you're a fucking loser. Okay, listen to the music. The music is what matters, and when I listen to the Beatles, they're really good, apart from Maxwell's Silver Hammer, which is dog shit. Ding, 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 ding. So,
which may or may not actually be a back referenced in ELO's Mr. Blue Sky, which also includes the ding 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 bit.
Why would I reform the Beatles when you can have ELO?
Jeff Lynne is a very smart man.
Yeah.
What other band?
Almost as smart as some people think they are. So, and the other one is, what's a band that you couldn't stand at first but you grew to like? Okay, I'm going to go for this one. Blur, right? Leisure is a piece of shit. It's a incoherent selection of random songs with a baggy drum beat. There's one good song on Leisure, and that song is called Sing. Everything else is not particularly good, and I know I'm doing NOTCAST on an album by album basis about Blur, but and let's be really clear about it, they started off pretty crappy. It was only about the time that I first heard stuff like Chinese Bombs and the Blur album and 13 that I thought, yeah, there's really something here, and now I've gone off them.
But why is that?
Because
that because
Damon's
Damon?
a wanker?
It's because Damon Albarn is not a very nice man.
Well, no, more correctly, it's just that, Damon picks up Blur and drops Blur whenever he feels like it, and he wants to run around in his trackies getting paid a load of money to play Wembley Stadium. He wanted to cancel Wembley Stadium on the second night because it wasn't sold out and he wasn't in the mood. And I'm like, really? You're headlining Wembley fucking Stadium to 65,000 people. Your take home is going to be more than some people earn in the whole of their goddamn lives, and you want to cancel it because you're not in the mood. Mood is for
Cattle and lovers.
Thank you, Patrick Stewart. Did you know Patrick Stewart's first on-screen kiss was his Mick Jagger's brother in the film Life Force?
You like Life Force, don't you?
I love it.
I have an opinion of Leisure which is slightly less damning than you, which is it's got 5 good songs on it and 7 absolute rubbish ones.
And that
specifically refers to this version of the album, because this is the American version album, which includes I Know, which I actually like, I Know, and then there's the 3 singles, and then there's Sing, which is not on this. So the best song on this album isn't actually on this version of the album. There is no version of the album that pays its strengths. About Blur, a band I didn't like at first. They're a band I kind of got to like some bits of lately, especially Chinese Bombs, which is their most interesting era. And now I don't like them because I just think that, I have a negative association with Damon Albarn treating his fans like rubbish.
Okay, so what is a band that you liked but now can't stand?
From Japan, Farewell. I don't know what to say about this. I was young, I was misguided, I listened to the Friday Rock Show, I heard a couple of songs, I thought they were okay. I had the album on cassette. Now, I even took a Farewell record to a Black Sabbath record signing, and Neil Murray said this is the first time anyone's asked me to sign a Farewell record. I may have anecdoted that before. It has not dated well.
Aged like milk.
It has aged like atomic particles with a half-life of a fifth of a second. It is...
Okay.
I can't even find words.
Here's a band that I liked, but I now can't stand. I used to like Muse. And then I looked at them on the shelf a little while ago and I thought, why the hell have I still got these?
Because of Wiggly Guitar,
and really what I realised is it was if Radiohead songs had been covered by a Queen tribute band. And it's all so fucking melodramatic. And the idea of thinking that they've got these deep and fantastic ideas about conspiracies and stuff, and it's like, really, man?
Really? Man? You've just been reading books about UFOs. That doesn't mean it's real.
It's not exciting.
I will admit, I like 2 Muse albums, which is, I think Black Holes and Revelations is really good. I think Showbiz is really good. And everything else is self-indulgent twaddle.
I think Starlight's their best song.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
That's the only one that's really very good.
Yeah, I really like that.
Okay, so last question from Steve Richards. Assuming something happens to you, what are you going to do with all of that crap?
Oh, it's simple. I'm just going to inherit all your crap. We're already going to inherit all mine.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
And the main thing is, sell it for more than you told people you paid for it.
Shh. Record collector secrets, man. Don't break the code. Breaking the code.
Yeah.
Broken the code.
I mean, the main thing really is that, some of this stuff is worth some money and some of the stuff isn't worth any money. And you've got to try and realise it in a way that provides for the other people in your life as best as you can. I've recently bought a collection of stuff from a seller on Discogs who's selling her husband's stuff now that he's departed this earthly plane. Signed stuff. So if you're following me on the great Instagrams, you'll see signed new order stuff and signed pulp stuff that's turning up. It's like £3-4 a CD or a DVD, and I'm like, it's gone to a good loving home and it'll be looked after for the rest of my life. So there we have it. That's some questions from the viewers. Thank you so much for your questions. It's really lovely to see a nice little community of people that watch regularly, put up with my nonsense and his, and ask questions. They're really good questions, really like them. So we'd like some more at some point in the future. We're going to wrap up now, if that's okay.
We want to say there isn't the usual shtick where we go like, subscribe, ring the bell. It's up to you, man. It's up to you. I don't mind.
Yeah,
I'm not worth it.
I know that.
Thanks. Cheers. Loves you, baby. And I do want to say thanks to all the people who contributed. So that's John Meehan from Rhino. Take it easy. Ian Cargill.
Jesus, Mary Chain are coming, dude. Go see them.
Yeah, get your head on for that. Anna Gardner, Morag McIntyre. Can't be too bad. Whoever this Mr. Graham Reed is, probably sounds like a complete tosser. Steve Richards.
Thanks
Simon,
for making me feel about my mortality, man.
Cheers.
I'm gonna live forever or die in the attempt. Simon Patience.
Whoever we've got written on the back of the sheet.
Yeah.
Chelsea, thank you.
Sean, hey, hope you have a good time at Bruce Springsteen. Anthony Newsom, love your questions and your avatar, which is quite cool. Jessica Ronson, don't know who that is, but hey, Jessica, thanks for the question. Also, Mona and Steve Richards.
Again.
Now, I'm going to say a little thing about Steve, not a bad thing. I heard about a League of Gentlemen Q&A where somebody said to the people on the League of Gentlemen, said, which one of you is going to die first? I couldn't believe anyone was going to ask that question. Luckily, your question is better, funnier, and more sensitive. So, good work. Now, we're almost up to the hour limit, so thank you very much for watching. We're going to wrap up now. Stay beautiful, beautiful ones.
There's only
And-
one more question to ask.
What?
You suffer, but why?
Which, by the way, I have slowed down to 1% of its standard length, and it sounds like... Scatzy. Right. See you soon, and take care. See you later, beautiful ones. Bye-bye.